Good evening, everyone. I am Priyanka Shukla. I secured All India rank 109 in Civil Services Examination 2018. So, on the basis of that, I was allotted Indian Police Service. I am an MP cadre Indian Police Service officer, currently undergoing training. So, in this session, I'll be discussing what should be your strategy for prelims, basically. So, meanwhile, I'll be discussing my strategy, and you're welcome to put any question in the comment section. So, I'll try and entertain that. So the first thing, I should briefly describe my journey in the UPSC. So this was my fourth attempt. 2018 was my fourth attempt. I started appearing for civil services 2015 onwards. So 2015 was my first attempt. 2016, then 2018 was the fourth attempt. So in the first two attempts, I could not clear prelims. I will discuss with you what were the mistakes that I made and how I corrected them in subsequent attempts. In 2018 and 2017 exam and 2018 exam, I cleared prelims, and the score was fairly good. I had a comfortable margin from the cutoff. So that is there. So the first thing first, I think the first thing that you need for prelims is to have a confined book list. What all sources you're going to refer to. So it should not be like that you're trying to read each and every book that is available. Like somebody is coming and saying not this book, that book, then you suddenly leave this one and rush to another. So the first thing first, create a basic book list of yours own that you can decide on the basis of various topper stocks that are available. I will discuss my own list of books that I referred to. But then you are free to watch as many topper stocks as possible and then decide your own book list, which is going to help you. So the basic thing I want to convey here is not my book list, but I want to convey here that have a book list of your own on the basis of previous year toppers and all. So that is very important. So for example, for modern Indian history, I referred to Spectrum. So it was that I would not refer to any other book for that, maybe NCERT, because NCERT is the primary source of any question, so NCERT becomes important as such. So NCERTs you have to refer for almost all the subjects, so that is there. Then Spectrum, so it should not be that somebody comes and says to you that you should refer this Bipin Chandra, these thick books. So that is not required. That is one mistake that I committed in my first two attempts. I did not know what all basic books are common among the aspirants. Your main motive in prelim should be to go through all the books that majority of the aspirants are going through. For example, Spectrum for modern Indian history is very common among aspirants. For Indian polity, Lakshmikant is very common, so it becomes sort of mandatory, and there's no there's no book in competition to Lakshmikant as of now, I know. So for Indian polity, Lakshmikant becomes very important. For environment, which sometimes is very prominent in the prelims questions, the Shankar IAS Green Book is very important. Then for geography, all the NCERTs, all the 4 NCERTs of 11th and 12th standards are very important. And if you have some problem with the basics in geography, then you can probably refer to the previous standards also, say 6th onwards. Like sometimes I had issue in geography, I did not remember longitude and latitude also, so I started 6th onwards. So that is the thing what you can do for geography. Then mostly all the then for Indian polity, apart from Lakshmikant, you have to refer to the NCERTs also, 11th and 12th class NCERTs, because of late UPSC has been asking questions directly from these NCERTs, because if you go through these NCERTs, you'll realize that it is quite difficult to make an objective question, an MCQ type question from this book. However, UPSC is following that these days. So I think it is advisable to go through those books also. So NCERTs, I think you should refer to as many possible. For example, the post-independence NCERT, then the art and culture NCERT, they're very important. So I basically did not want to convey any any concrete book list, like you should not go out of this or that. The basic idea I want to convey here is that have your own confined book list and have faith in that. Don't worry that like sometimes you're torn apart between two things. Somebody is reading something, then you are confused like whether to go for this thing or to go for this thing. So I think at the very outset of your preparation, define your book list. Only when you are assured that that something needs to be added or something needs to be replaced, then do that. So I think that is the most important thing, to have your own book list. And what to do with that book list? So first thing is that give it a reading. You can make short notes of the book, because not the entire book has facts that can be asked in the question. So the thing is that you should first prepare. You can underline in the book itself if you're comfortable with that, or you can make your own short notes of that book. And those short notes don't need to be very ornamental, very beautiful, or those kind of. Like my short notes used to be very dirty, but I could understand, I could relate with them. Like you can put the info given in a particular book in a chart form or in some other form, so that really helps. So those books, and then multiple readings of the books are required. For example, I once listened to Anukumari ma'am's Topper's talk on some platform. So she was All India Rank 2 in I think 2017 examination. So in that she said that 15 times she had read Spectrum for Indian history, and the same number of times she had gone through Lakshmikant. So this was very inspiring for me, because where does the competition arise? The competition is that you should not miss the question that everybody is attempting successfully. So that is the thing. So almost everybody is going through these books. So it is always advisable to do as many revisions for these books as possible. So that is one thing. Then I think there was one thing that I used to follow that may be beneficial to some of you. So that thing was that I used to make short notes of everything that I read. Not very beautiful short notes, just that I can understand them. So the next day I will say I studied Spectrum for 4 hours today. Then and I will create short notes for that. Then tomorrow what I'll do, I'll just give a passive reading of that in 10 minutes. Like something you read for 4 hours, but you're just giving a passive reading. By passive reading, I mean that not putting in any effort to try to learn that thing. Then again, today again, tomorrow again, if I read 4 hours, then I put that in short notes. Then again, so for the same short notes, I was giving passive reading for 4-5 days. So what happens that then that thing goes into your memory, like without putting any effort also, those facts go into your memory. So this passive reading was something that really helped me, and it's kind of effortless, and it might help you as well. So that is something that you can go through. So if you have any questions so far in what I've discussed, so you can certainly put in the comments section. I'll try to answer them. So first I'll discuss the prelims strategy. Someone is asking cadre selection process. I'll definitely go through that if time permits. So first thing first, have a book list, as many times revision as possible. Then short notes, whether you underline in the book itself or you have your own notes. So that is one thing. Then the second thing that I did not do in my first 2 attempts when I failed badly, but I did in the next 2 attempts when I succeeded with very good marks. So that thing is to go through test series. There are some well-known test series in the market which almost all serious aspirants go through. So there are 30 to 35 tests for prelims in that test series. So you must attempt that test series. That helps you in many ways. For example, for geography, for example, they have thematic tests also. For a particular subject, they have 3-4 tests, and then they have comprehensive tests also, covering the entire syllabus. So what happens that there are certain areas that we are weak upon, we are not able to work upon. For example, medieval history is one of them, art and culture is one of them, ancient India is one of them. So in that you can do so in that you can take this test series as a source of information also. Like test series is not just for testing yourself, it can be a source of information also. because in prelims your cumulative knowledge helps you in answering a certain question, no matter where that information came from. So I think there were many questions that I attempted on the basis of having seen them in a test series previously. So that is an important thing. Then test series also helps you in understanding what the optimum number of questions you should attempt in prelims to reach a certain cutoff. Because this was one of the mistakes. However, this can be personal. This can differ person to person. But the number of questions you attempt can differ person to person. But this is something that you can identify from the test series. Like some people prefer to attempt 70 to 80 questions. Some people attempt more than 90 questions. So I think what helped me is attempting the maximum number of questions. When I was attempting, in the first two attempts, I was attempting 70 questions. I was very conservative in how many questions I was attempting. So because of that, you are just left out of the race sometimes. In my third attempt, I did 95 questions, and the fourth attempt I did in the fourth attempt I did 98 questions. So somebody is asking anything for the beginner. So I think I'm beginning with the basic thing only. If you're beginning also, then you have to have a predefined book list. So that is the first thing. That is the first advice that anybody can give you. That is very important. So have a predefined book list based on. So sorry for the digression here. So discussing about the test series, so you get to know what is the optimum number of questions that you should attempt. If you have a very good accuracy, you can maybe attempt 75 or so. But if accuracy is an issue, then you can go beyond 85. So somebody had told me that attempt at least 85. So that way I attempted 90 plus, and that helped me. So this you can check for yourself through test series whether attempting more questions is helping you more or not. So that is another thing. Then somebody asked for current affairs. So for current affairs, I followed two things. One is the newspaper. Mostly I used to read The Hindu. So as a beginner, it might be difficult to identify which particular headlines you should go through. For that, there are many reputed coaching institutions. They come up with their list of headlines. For example, what you should read in the particular newspaper. And they also come out with, many coaching institutes come out with a video at the end of the day, in which they analyze the news of the day. For example, what question for prelims can be there, what question for mains can be there from that particular day's newspaper. So I think you must take help from them. My sources for current affairs were a newspaper. I mostly used to read The Hindu. You can choose for yourself which one to read. Almost like there are people who read Indian Express, and they also get through. So you can choose which one to read. Then newspaper also you have to supplement with some current affairs monthly magazine. So there are many institutions that are coming out with a monthly compilation of news. So pick up one of them, which a majority of students are picking up. So there's a caveat here: don't go for something that very few people are going for. Just try to know what everybody is reading. That's the most important question in UPSC preparation. What 90% of people are studying, you should also study that, because the cutoff will go down. There's no issue. Say for example, there's one question that nobody was able to attempt what you attempted, so it might help you some way. But then there was a question that 90% people could attempt, but you could not attempt. That might be detrimental. So it is very important to confine yourself to the study material that 90% of the people are following. So that is thing. So for current affairs, newspaper, a monthly magazine, and if you can go through in the beginning, as a beginner, you can go through some news analysis videos. So that will help you. Then apart from test series, what is important is previous year question papers. So you can find out subject-wise previous year question papers. For example, what all questions from geography UPSC has asked in past 10 years. What all questions from modern Indian history UPSC has asked in past 10 years. Similar for environment or say any other basic. Sorry, there was a disconnection in between. What I was saying, that previous year questions become very important. First of all, they can provide you a clue to a new question, and also they can provide you the source. For example, you're reading some NCERT, say post independence India NCERT, and you find out some information in that book on which a question was posed by UPSC in previous years. So you suddenly find it interesting. So that is very important. Going through at least 5 years previous year question paper, and if possible 10 years for prelims. So that becomes very important. So that is there. Then the thing is, then we can come to how to attempt these questions. So the day you're going for examination, finally, I think you should carry a very positive attitude, because most of the people, like those of you who have already appeared for prelims, they might understand that there's a kind of adrenaline rush in us. There's a fear. So, but I think one thing that helped me not only through prelims but mains also is that you should have confidence in yourself. And if you don't have confidence, have a fake confidence at least in yourself, because my previous year's performance was not very like what I can say, empowering in any manner. So I used to have a fake confidence that okay, I'll do. Never say anything negative about yourself, because this happened with me in 2017. I became very negative. I would tell people that I'm not able to study geography. I'm bad at geography. But in 2018, I started almost at the same level in geography. But then I was very positive about it. I would never say anything negative to people that I'm bad at geography or something. I would say I'm improving. My marks in test series are improving. So that is one thing, a positive attitude. That becomes very important. So just control your emotions and just be very confident. So that is one thing. Positivity is one important thing. Then I listen to certain toppers talk. There are people who score 150 in prelims, 140 in prelims, when some of us are not able to meet the cutoff also. So I listen to their toppers talk. So it is not that they know everything under the sun. It is not it is not so that they knew answers to almost every question in the prelims. It is the technique that they were following. So one is elimination method. It is very common amongst I can say the veterans like me also. So there are certain elimination methods how to eliminate a particular option when you don't know the answer. So that thing is maybe if there are some sweeping statements that never such happens or always this thing happens. So these sweeping statements, I would not suggest that as a rule you do that. But in some question, if you're not getting something, so I think it is a safe play that these sweeping statements you can somehow consider them as negative. So that thing really helps. If there are some questions about technology, say there's a question on 5G, there's a question on IoT. So this is a pattern that I discovered, that mostly the technology can do everything. So if they're giving 5G, this can do this, this can do this, this can do this. So mostly it can do everything. So almost all the options are like in 50 to 60% or 70% of the cases they're correct only. So I think it is a safe bet to say that vote in the favor of that technology only if something is too much counterintuitive to you, that 5G and they're relating to this, then you can say that okay, this one I am eliminating. So that becomes very important. And test series will also help you in developing this capability of intuitive thinking. When you don't know the answer to a question, but still somehow intuitively you can eliminate some option. So that is there. And then there are certain questions on environment. So that also mostly, for example, they asked, say, I don't know, I don't recall exactly, but say there's a question that lipstick has all these components. So there are so many lakhs of lipsticks in the market, So it is very difficult to rule out any one thing that this is specifically not a component, not an ingredient in the lipstick. So I think it is always a safe bet to say that all that they're written are the ingredients of lipstick. So that is one thing. I think it is a so I think it is it can be one way to make an intelligent guess. Then I think regarding the optimum number of attempts only, I heard a topper's talk by Roman Seni sir. So he basically said that negative marking is something that is I mean, you don't need to be too much afraid of it, because like you don't end up losing those many marks. So just be conservative, but still don't be too much afraid of negative marking. If he told a rule that if you're able to eliminate at even two options, like if you're able to eliminate three, you can get the fourth. You can get the fourth, obviously. But then he said that even if you're able to eliminate two options or even one option, then it is a safe bet to mark that question, because that will be in your favor. That can turn odds in your favor. So this, at least this rule, I think I can assure you that you can follow. That because so far I have not asked you to stick to any of what I have discussed. Just take a clue from me. I don't ask you to go through exactly my book list, but I am just conveying you to the principle of having your own book list. So here I can say that if you are able to eliminate at least two options, then you must mark that answer. So that is one thing. Then again, from the toppers who had scored 2 good marks in prelims, one thing was that you can somehow eliminate an option on the basis of the nomenclature of that option only. For example, there was a question of Mazdoor Kisan Sangh Sabha or something. So they had asked like who were the founders of this organization. So the thing is that basically the at least in two options the South Indian names were there from the 4 southern states. So I ruled out that because its name does not say that it's a northern. Its name is somehow a North Indian name. So you can rule out options on the basis of on the basis of name also. So that becomes very important. So I think these techniques, if you follow while attempting the questions, that becomes very important. Then another mistake that I was committing while attempting the questions, I was not doing it in any systematic manner. I just 1 to 100, I was taking my entire time. Like only one time I was going through all the 100 questions. So it is a very basic thing, but maybe some of you are committing the same mistake. Even if one of you is committing that mistake and you take this cue from me, it will be very helpful. So one thing is that you first make a fast scanning from 1 to 100, so that only in the first run mark only those questions that you are 100% sure about, and rest you can even if some question is demanding your some extra time for thinking, and you think that you can do it, then still take this for the second round, because sometimes time becomes a constraint, because sometimes people are not able to reach 100 also. Maybe you are at 70, 80, and you gave too much time to 80th question, while the questions that followed were comparatively easier. So I think you must at least go through and fix a time that at least in 1.5 hours I'll be done with first round. Then or maybe 1 hour 15 minutes I'll be done with the first round at least. Then I'll go through the second round. So have that timeline in your mind. So that is the thing. So this was basically what I wanted to discuss with you about prelims. Now I can go through the questions that you've posted here. So cadre selection process. I think there's a cadre policy document that you can go through. Because now it has been divided into certain zones. Earlier you could have put states in 1 to 29 order, and only that order was followed. But now zone 1, So you have to first first arrange the zones in the order that you want. Then the first state of zone 1 that you choose becomes your first choice. Then the second state of the second zone, the first state of the second zone becomes your second choice. So that way it rotates across the zones. So it is a very simple policy. You can go through that. And regarding cadre selection, I think you can it will be very time taking to discuss it right now. But there are certain cadres which are known to be good for IAS. There are certain cadres which are known to be good for IPS. So I think you can discuss it with. I think there can be a separate session on this, or you can discuss with some friends who are aware of these things. So they will tell you that certain cadres have better prospects. So that thing is there. Current affairs, I think I discussed basically. Accuracy ratio. I think, for example, the cutoff of any, say the cutoff of any paper is, basically you can get in touch with pupil, you can solve a particular question paper with 5 or 6 pupil, or just try to know their score. So what happens if everybody is getting 105 in that paper and you're getting 90, so that means that is quite low. So if you're getting 110 or 105, it's fine. So different paper have different difficulty levels. For example, for UPSC itself, sometimes the cutoff is 116 and sometimes the cutoff is 98. So I think that thing kept in mind. So you can see you can see how many questions you attempted. When you attempted 70 question only, what was your score? When you attempted 90 questions, what was your score? So test series will help you decide that. So somebody is asking that they're studying in BA 6th semester. So should they? So I think in graduation you can very well begin to prepare for UPSC, so that maybe you can take it depends upon you. If you think that your graduation is somehow being compromised, if you are trying to prepare for UPSC, then it's not advisable. But I think in graduation also you can take out at least 2-3 hours. Just be very systematic in your approach. Don't waste your time on something that is not required. So basically focus on your own set of books, focus on test series. Test series is very important for prelims as well as mains. So I think that is very important. Then CSET paper, since you can have your own strength and weakness in CSET paper. For me, my strength was comprehension. So I used to attempt first all the comprehensions in the paper. And afterwards I used to go through the logical reasoning and this arithmetic part. So just find out your strength and then work upon those things. Then there are certain go through the previous year question papers for CSET as well, like maybe last 5 years or 10 years. Go through them, then find out which questions are very common. Say some calendar questions are very common, some Venn diagram questions are very common, then some that cone questions are very common. So find out all those questions that are common, then then practice them as much as possible, because CSET also becomes inhibition for certain people. There are people I know who did not score 66 marks in prelims in CSET. So I think that becomes very important. So just go through the previous year question papers, at least 10 years question papers. If it is a weakness for you, like if you can easily take a previous year question paper of CSET, if you're scoring say 100 plus, then just be confident. You don't need to put too much time for CSET. But if you're quite weak in that, then find out the most common questions and find out the strategies to solve them. There are many YouTube videos on any particular set of problem, so that can be there. And then when you attempt the question, then first attempt your strength question. For example, I would attempt comprehension, but for some of you, the arithmetic part might be easier, the logical reasoning part might be easier. So you first attempt, don't go because since we just have to qualify in that, Don't go serial number wise 1 to 80. First attempt where your strength lies, and then go through the questions where you struggle. So that would be my advice, I think. So I think the scholars themselves have uploaded a kind of revision strategy. So you may prefer to go through that. So that is one thing. And then I think I have dealt with the basic points that I wanted to deal with. If any other questions some of you have, then you can please post. Otherwise, I think we can wrap up. So somebody has posted how to prepare for optional papers. So it basically depends upon your optional. My optional was geography. I did not score very well in 2017. I scored only 206 marks. But thankfully in 2018 I scored 301 marks. So I can tell you the basic principles that you can go through. I first of all went through the strategies of toppers. You just go through the strategies of toppers of previous years. These days, due to internet connectivity and everything, you get to know the toppers' strategies the very next day the result is out. So in 2017, the year before I succeeded, Pratham Kaushik sir had scored I think the highest in the mains also and in the geography also. So he had posted a detailed strategy of his geography preparation. So I mostly adhered to that strategy. And also some other, I listened to many of the toppers talks, I read many of the strategies of previous year toppers. Then I prepared my own strategy. So on the basis of that, so I think that for any optional, this is a safe bet to go through as many toppers talk as you can go through, and then make your own strategy on the basis of that. So I think that is something that can be followed for that. So I think that is it. So thank you so much for listening to me, and all the very best for the upcoming exam.